Welcome in to Outkick the show. I am Clay Travis, the newly unbearded. I went on vacation, and my boys, they said, will you please shave your beard, Dad? So I want to give you a shot, both sides here, everywhere. I have shaved off my beard because my 3-year-old and my 7-year-old said, Dad, we've never seen you without a beard. I imagine that it is going to blow many of your minds. You're going to be sitting there to yourself thinking, oh my God, I can't believe how much different this guy looks. Totally same guy, not a beard. No beard on. I want a verdict. I want you to assess, sit back, look. Good look, bad look. I look a lot younger, I think. I think I look a lot younger. But I've been a beard guy since all the way back in almost back to the 1900s, 2001. So I'm going to probably grow the beard back out, but I am interested and intrigued by what the opinion is. Again, my name is Clay Travis. I am going back at Clay Travis is my Twitter handle, and this is Outkick the show. I'd encourage you guys to go to sportsbookreview.com to get whatever you need to make sure that you get the best possible odds, as it is now the college football eve, and as well the NFL season is officially underway. I am telling you right now, go to sportsbookreview.com right now, and you will be glad that you did. Also, on top of that, I would also encourage all of you, as everybody comes to grips with my new beardless wonder here, I would also encourage all of you to go to thehomeloanexpert.com, get hooked up with my guy Ryan Kelly, who's out climbing mountains right now. Make sure if you need a new mortgage, if you have credit card debt and you need it all wiped out, you already own a home, anywhere you want to go, all over the country, they will take care of you. Thehomeloanexpert.com. All right, we got a lot to get to, much to discuss. It is really me. It is I, Clay Travis. You've never seen me without a beard before. You can blame my 3-year-old and my 7-year-old. I went on vacation, and they said over and over again. I remember being a little kid like this, by the way. I remember being a little kid like this before. And I remember telling my dad, who was clean shaven, Dad, will you please grow a beard? Dad, will you please grow a beard? My dad couldn't grow a beard. He did not have enough facial hair, but he would not shave for like a week. And I would be like, oh my God, Dad has a beard. Well, the reverse is true. Whatever your kids are used to, they want you to do the opposite. My 3- and 7-year-olds kept saying, Dad, will you shave your beard off? Dad, we've never seen you with your beard off before. And so I went undercover. I went on vacation. I took the beard off. And now all of you are able to see the true skin beneath my beard. All right, let's get right to it. We got 2 big stories to get to. I think both of these are massive stories. I want to talk about Urban Meyer and the mess at Ohio State. I also want to talk about LeBron James, Donald Trump going toe-to-toe in Twitter wars in going at each other. But I want to start with the Urban Meyer story. The Urban Meyer story, I believe now. If you weren't paying attention last night, late 10:15 Eastern time, Ohio State announced that they were going to make a decision that they were going to know everything within 14 days. All right, that they were going to complete their investigation within 14 days. And I think there are a couple of things that are worth grabbing onto here that are very significant. After Urban Meyer's statement that came out on Friday afternoon, you can go watch my reaction to Urban Meyer's statement. I said that the battleground had shifted. And if you remember last week when Brett McMurphy broke his story on Wednesday, the number one story that everybody was debating was, did Urban Meyer know about Zach Smith? And was there any way to prove his knowledge based on his wife's text messages and the text messages that Courtney Smith shared as a part of Brett McMurphy's story? And everybody dove in and argued about whether or not there was any legitimacy to that, what they should follow, everything else. And the biggest Ohio State fans out there said, there's no way to prove that Urban Meyer knew about the allegations in 2015, even though his wife had had pictures, his wife Shelly had pictures sent to her phone, even though all the text messages that were saved by Courtney Smith. And I said at the time, that's a tough argument, but potentially if Shelly Smith were willing to fall on her sword and argue she never told Urban Meyer about this, maybe that could be an argument that Urban Meyer could make. Instead, and I know this was a blockbuster move, on Friday afternoon, Urban Meyer released a statement. He told us three big things. One, he admitted that he knew about the 2015 incident. Two, he said he had told his bosses. And three, he admitted that he had lied to all of the media at Big Ten Media Days. That he had lied, that he had been caught in that lie, and since then, there has not been a lot of news that has come out. So, I think there are several things that have to be determined now. I want to start with this that I wrote this afternoon. One of the biggest parts of this investigation, I believe, as Ohio State undertakes, to the extent that they are doing a real investigation, is they have to determine this. Did Urban Meyer tell his bosses when they hired Zach Smith in 2012 that Zach Smith had been arrested for domestic violence in 2009? That was a hidden story that had never gone public that Brett McMurphy found out about and wrote. If they did not tell, if Urban Meyer did not share that information, the second question becomes why, and the next question becomes, did he tell Gene Smith or any other of his superiors about that 2009 arrest when he heard about the 2015 allegations? This is a seismic issue to me because if you are Gene Smith and you are investigating somebody for alleged domestic violence, Gene Smith could have potentially, or whoever was doing this at Ohio State, believed that this was the first time that there had been any allegations of impropriety ever levied against Zach Smith. And if that were, in fact, what he was operating under, he might well have been inclined to give the benefit of the doubt to Zach Smith, because I can make the argument for you for Zach Smith. I'm Gene Smith. Did you hit her? No, I didn't hit her. No, I have never hit her. She's been crazy during the course of our divorce. I'm pretending I'm telling the Zach Smith story. I have had to defensively keep her from hitting me. She's going crazy, but I have never struck her. Lord's truth, I'm telling you this, Gene, on everything that I hold dear. We're just going through a divorce, and she called the cops on me, and she's making allegations against me, and they're not true. I can't believe she would say this. If he made that argument, and Gene Smith bought it, he might only have bought it because he didn't know about the 2009 incident. You are not likely to give a guy a benefit of the doubt if you know that he was previously arrested for domestic violence years ago. Okay? I'm telling you this because I believe it's a massive part of this story whether or not Urban Meyer made that known to his superiors. Oh, by the way, this 2015 allegation has been made. You guys need to investigate it. And this, by the way, is assuming Urban Meyer even told anybody. But on top of that, he needed as well to say, and you should know that in 2009 he was arrested for domestic violence, that Shelley and I have been involved in this. All of this discussion needed to have been provided. Now, I have done employment and labor investigations before. Before I was doing what I do now, I worked as a labor and employment lawyer. And I know exactly what investigations like this consist of. I would come in for a company. They would say, we have an internal complaint about inappropriate behavior. Clay Travis, you are a lawyer. We want you to investigate it. You're independent. You don't know anybody involved in this case. We want you to investigate, talk to everyone, and share what the result you believe is. I have done this countless times where I have gone and talked to people about allegations of impropriety inside companies. Usually these were sexual harassment related. I would talk to a woman. It was always a woman in these cases that I was involved in, alleging that she had been sexually harassed by a superior. And you know what happened? The woman always said, he sexually harassed me. What do you think happened when I talked to the guys? Every single guy denied that he had ever behaved inappropriately or sexually harassed his subordinate. Every single one of them. It's the very definition of he said, she said cases. And that's why it makes it so difficult when you have actually been involved in many of these cases where somebody is sitting around saying, no, that's not true, that's a lie, and somebody else is telling you the exact opposite story. Every single guy denies it. Every single woman who made the complaint I talked to, and I had to talk to them. I had to see if there was any corroborating evidence. I had to determine based on other witnesses whether anyone else had ever seen anything inappropriate. I had to talk to witnesses that had talked to the women at the times of these alleged incidents. It is why I have been so skeptical for so long of the idea that the NFL is going to be able to conduct investigations and figure out what happened. Cases like these are incredibly difficult to unpack and determine what happened. So, I know about these labor and employment investigations the following. I would write a written report. I would receive a written notification of the problem. If Urban Meyer actually reported this to his superiors, there should be a written trail of it, and there should also be a written investigation that took place into whether or not any domestic violence happened. Okay? If they did not conduct that investigation, then that is a major issue both for Urban Meyer and for everybody else. Okay? This is the truth, okay, about the way this story is going to go down. So, I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I'm sure that Ohio State would like to keep Urban Meyer because he's a very good football coach. I think the equities of the right thing to do militate in favor of firing him because let me actually work through this entire process, okay? I am now going to be Urban Meyer's attorney. What is the best thing you can say in defense of Urban Meyer in the wake of his Friday statement? You can say as follows. Urban Meyer helped in 2009 to ensure that Zach Smith wasn't charged with domestic assault. He then, in 2012, when he became the head coach at Ohio State, hired Zach Smith. In 2015, his wife was texted a series of photos that appeared to show domestic abuse, and Urban Meyer confronted Zach Smith and said, "Zach, did you do it?" Zach Smith said he did not. Urban Meyer also says he made his superiors aware of it. We don't know what the result of that investigation was, but for 3 more years, Zach Smith works as a wide receiver for Ohio State, despite the fact that Urban Meyer knows that he has been arrested for domestic assault once, and secondly, has been investigated, and that his own wife has said of Zach Smith, "He scares me." Okay? "He scares me." Direct quote from Shelley Smith about Zach Smith. Why did Urban Meyer continue for 3 years to employ this guy until July, last month, when he gets arrested for violating a court order, and then Urban Meyer decides to fire him? The next day, they go, Ohio State does, in front of the Big Ten media, and at that media event, Urban Meyer lies to all of the media and all of the people watching live on television, a bold-faced, blatant lie that has since been proven to be a lie that he has admitted to. The best possible defense of Urban Meyer you can make right now is that he helped to cover up the first domestic assault in 2009. He kept Zach Smith on his staff at Florida. He then rehired him on his new staff in 2012. In 2015, he made the decision to not do anything when the same guy that had already been accused of domestic assault was accused of domestic assault again. And on top of that, he went out himself in front of all the Big Ten media and all the fans who were watching live, and he lied about what he knew about this. Then, on top of that, he just threw everybody else at Ohio State under the bus by saying he had notified his superiors. That, my friends, is definitely a fireable offense. In fact, it is not only a fireable offense, it is downright likely, I believe, that if Ohio State wanted to do it, they could fire him, and they would not owe him any of the $40 million under his contract, because if he lied in that Big Ten media days, and if he did not provide all of the evidence that he knew about from 2009, again, big question. Did Urban Meyer tell Ohio State in 2012 when he hired Zach Smith that he knew about this 2009 incident when he was arrested for domestic violence? Did he tell Gene Smith or any other superior in 2015, hey, by the way, I think you guys should know as you conduct this investigation into domestic assault that I'm handing off to you, he also has been arrested for domestic assault before. I might be willing to give you the benefit of the doubt once. I'm not willing to give you the benefit of the doubt twice. And frankly, I'm not even sure in today's society that you could give anybody the benefit of the doubt in domestic violence if you were Urban Meyer. And Zach Smith is just a random dude who's a wide receiver coach. Urban Meyer could have gone out and found 250, 400, 500 guys to coach wide receivers for him at Ohio State that would have been nowhere near the overall issue that Zach Smith was. Why would you keep a ticking time bomb on your staff? Maybe the argument is because he's Earl Bruce's grandson. I think Urban Meyer is far too smart to do this. This, to me, is what I think is the biggest issue about this Urban Meyer case in general. His judgment has been awful in every single facet of this case. In fact, not only awful, I think indefensible. So I believe this is a messy, ugly situation that is continuing to get uglier. I don't think Urban Meyer's statement on Friday helped. I don't think Sunday's release has helped in any way. I still believe that the equities in this case, if they are applied, and if they were applied to virtually any coach in college football, maybe other than Urban Meyer and Nick Saban, he would be fired for what he did. Okay, what questions legally do you guys have about this case? I will try to read them on Facebook and on Twitter right now. What questions do you guys have about this case? I will try to answer them. A couple of things off the front. Anybody who's talking about this woman, I don't think it matters. Okay? If you're going to attack Courtney Smith, I don't think it matters in this case right now. Okay? I don't think it matters at all. All of these Ohio State fans were like, oh, she's crazy. She's awful. She's a horrible human being. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. The Gainesville police arrested him in 2009. The 2015 incident, regardless of whether she's a saint or a sinner, that's plenty for Urban Meyer to fire Zach Smith. I don't think it has any doubt. Title IX, look, I don't know what the investigation that Ohio State undertook was. That's the biggest issue that I think remains out there to be determined, is what exactly did Ohio State do when they had this information? I think it also remains to be determined, did Urban Meyer actually do what he said? A couple of things that I think are interesting that media could track down. Did Urban Meyer tell Jeremy Foley in 2009 about the arrest of of Zach Smith for domestic violence? And was Jeremy Foley okay with that guy continuing to be employed at Florida? It's a big question. We don't know the answer to that. And then again, what did Ohio State do about this overall investigation? Because remember, reports are that Courtney Smith says nobody at Ohio State ever talked to her. How do you conduct an investigation into domestic violence without actually talking to the girl, the woman here, who is alleging domestic violence? If Urban somebody's asking, suspension. A lot of times, frankly, suspensions happen. It's like when somebody is found guilty of second-degree murder or manslaughter instead of first-degree murder. Sometimes they try to split the baby. Juries do this. Investigative committees might do this. You don't know how much debate there might be internally among the committee before they issue a ruling. They might come out and say, hey, we think X. But I think what's more likely is they're going to write the report. They're not going to make a recommendation necessarily on what should happen to Urban Meyer. I don't think the committee's going to make that recommendation. Maybe I'm wrong, and they're going to say, you have to fire him. Usually what a committee does is hand over their findings, and then the university reviews it, and they say, okay, we don't really have a choice here. We have to fire him. Or, okay, we don't think that there's any truth to these allegations, so he's clearly going to be hired. Sometimes you try to split the baby and come in and do a suspension. So all of these things are interesting. I also, if you heard me talk to Brett McMurphy this morning, Brett McMurphy says initially in 2015 on the arrest forms, it was checked that he was arrested for the domestic violence incident in 2015. And then later, when this report was released, they had removed the arrest checkmark. I would like to know what this police department did, what their investigation uncovered, and what the overall story is there from both the police side as well as the Ohio State side. So that is the latest on Urban Meyer. It's probably a more intelligent discussion than you're going to find anywhere else. We talked about it a lot on the radio show this morning. I'm going to continue to do it. So I would encourage all of you to just be paying attention to it. All right, it's a big story, massive story. What's going to happen to Urban Meyer? What's going to happen? Again, I don't know. I think anybody who tells you they know exactly what's going to happen is selling you a bill of goods. If I had to predict right now, I think Ohio State's going to have to fire him. But I can also sketch you out a possibility that he's going to be suspended. I think the odds of Urban Meyer coming back without a suspension, in my opinion, unless something crazy happens. Look, you don't know all of the details right now, right? We're working on the information that we have right now. Barring a wild thing happening, like this woman is proven to have made up everything, and that's always possible anytime you have allegations, that suddenly there's evidence that comes out and the woman has not been truthful. I think based on all the evidence, the radio interview, even the television interview, I think it's fair to say, based on everything that we have seen so far, Zach Smith looks like he has physically abused Courtney Smith. Okay? Now, what exactly of the rest of their relationship was going on, I don't know. I don't know about the complexities of any marriage, but I think based on the evidence we have seen right here, there's no doubt. All right. I happen to look up and see somebody criticizing the topics. And if I happen to look over and you criticize the topics, you're no longer allowed to comment on the show. Okay? If I happen to look over and I see something like that, the truth of the matter is this: you are dead and you're never allowed to return into the show again. That's the truth. So you should be aware of that. You have the right to comment. I read like 5% of the comments, but if I happen to look over and I happen to see somebody complaining about the topics or saying something that is awful, then you are gone forever. Might get away with it for a little while. Clay Kyle, undefeated in the long run. Okay, couple of questions. Any more questions about that? That's the breakdown of that situation. Let's talk about LeBron and Donald Trump. Late on Friday night, I'm getting in bed, on vacation, getting ready to go to sleep, like 5 minutes left, send off a few texts, and I see that our man Donald Trump, President of the United States, has taken a shot at Don Lemon, at LeBron James, and he said that he's a Michael Jordan guy. Now, let me say this off the top. I think that Donald Trump does not use Twitter as well as he could. I think right now Donald Trump's approval rating is like 49%. I think if he brought me to the White House and he said, Clay Travis, you are my Twitter savant. I'm only going to tweet things that I try out on you first. You have right of first refusal. You guys see my Twitter account. It's not like I pull punches. It's not like I tiptoe up to opinions. I think I could increase Donald Trump's overall approval ratings in America by 5 or 6 points in the space of the next 6 months. Okay? And let me tell you why. If Donald Trump wants to take a shot at LeBron James, which I totally understand, I don't think it's smart, but Donald Trump takes shots at everybody who takes shots at him. For a year and a half, Donald Trump has been seeing LeBron James take shots at him publicly. He said all sorts of things about Donald Trump. Most recently, in an interview on CNN, LeBron James decided to take shots at Donald Trump again. If I were advising Donald Trump, I would have said ignore LeBron James. If you want to make a comment on LeBron James, what he should have said was, I've always been a Jordan guy, and then just share a graphic of why Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James. It could have just been rings, 6-3. It could have been 6-0 in the finals. It could have been the fact that he won a college championship. All of those things would have been somewhat funny, okay? He tried to put it in there at the end, I like Mike, but instead, without even addressing anything that LeBron James said, Donald Trump could have tweeted, if he wanted to weigh into this mess, he could have tweeted, I've always been a Jordan guy, and then just linked why Jordan is better than LeBron. He just, on that same day, I saw, has seen his approval rating among black Americans go from 15% to 29%. If Trump had stepped into the Jordan versus LeBron debate and just come straight out and said, I'm a Jordan guy, just jumped wholeheartedly onto the Jordan train, then I think his overall approval rating would have gone up. People would have thought it was funny. They would have understood that he was saying he was the Jordan guy because LeBron had been going after him. All of that would have been fantastic. Instead, I saw this and I said, I know what's immediately going to happen on the left wing of the country. When you say that Don Lemon is dumb and when you say LeBron James is not smart, everybody is immediately going to say, oh, Donald Trump is racist. All right, the number one complaint you hear, everything is racist. The truth of the matter is this. Some black people are dumb. Some white people are dumb. Some Hispanic people are dumb. Some Asian people are dumb. All right? Your race does not determine your intelligence. So all we have to point out here is that a white guy saying a black guy is dumb does not make him racist. He did not say all black guys are dumb. He did not say all Hispanic guys are dumb or all Asian people are dumb or all white people are dumb, right? Yet that immediately is going to be what everybody else jumps on and decides to turn into a major story. Now, maybe he wants that to be the story. Maybe he wants to be attacked for that, and he sees nothing wrong with putting Don Lemon and LeBron James in the same tweet and knowing that everybody is going to be out there saying he's racist for doing it. That's why I would have just said, make your point about Michael Jordan being better, but it's not racist to say a particular person who happens to be a race is dumb. Okay? There is plenty of people out there that Donald Trump ran for president against. He said a lot worse things against Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio than he has about LeBron James. He has attacked people left, right. He said a lot worse things about Elizabeth Warren and Hillary Clinton than he has LeBron James. The one thing I would say about Donald Trump and his tweets is that he has uniformly attacked people regardless of their race, regardless of their gender, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their religion, regardless of their sexual preference. This dude has attacked everybody. So it is illegitimate to make the argument that the reason he's going after LeBron James is because he's black. He's going after LeBron James because LeBron James attacked him. And evidently there are a lot of people in sports that don't understand the First Amendment as a two-way street. If I decide that I'm going to rip somebody, they have the right to rip me back. That's not an attack. We got to stop this idea. Donald Trump attacked LeBron James. No, he didn't. He responded to LeBron James's attacks, which have been going on for 2 years. LeBron James campaigned for Hillary Clinton in Ohio, and Donald Trump kicked LeBron James and Hillary Clinton's ass in Ohio. Okay? Responding to someone else is not an attack. If Donald Trump out of nowhere just decides to attack, Tiger Woods, then I'll be like, okay, that's an attack. Tiger Woods has never said anything negative about Donald Trump, and then out of nowhere, Donald Trump decides to respond. Almost every single time that Donald Trump is accused of attacking somebody, it's a response to somebody else attacking him. That's not an attack. It's a counterattack. It's a response to what somebody else says about them. But in my experience, Donald Trump is typically not out there just randomly attacking people. Now, maybe you can say he's randomly attacked Jeff Sessions. Maybe you can say he's randomly attacked Robert Mueller. They haven't necessarily spoken out against Trump. But the vast majority of the time, Donald Trump is taking shots at people who take shots at him. Now, the reason why I think he could increase his overall approval ratings by 5 or 6 points if he brought me into the White House and had me employed as his Twitter guru is because I'm really damn good at Twitter. And I think I could get him to tweet in a way that makes a lot of the same points, which is much funnier. Okay? Trump, I think, has a decent sense of humor. I mean, you can't not be a little bit funny and come up with the idea of making yourself clothesline a wrestler with CNN's head. All right? That's a pretty fucking funny thing to come up with. Calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas and suggesting that she should get a DNA test to prove her Native American ethnicity, that's pretty funny. All right? You may not like Trump, but that's a pretty funny idea. May not be great for the presidency. and it may be beneath the office of the presidency. And that's a different argument entirely. I don't think that Trump is always his best asset. I think he could make a lot of the same points and do it in a funny way, which would make people respond to him better. And again, I circle back around on LeBron James. Why not just tweet out that you're a Jordan guy and put the championships of the two side by side and then just leave it at that? Then everybody's going to laugh. They're going to be like, oh, Jordan and LeBron, look who just jumped into the Jordan-LeBron debate. It's Donald Trump. Instead of the Jordan-LeBron debate, you kind of halfwayed yourself into it by taking a random shot at Don Lemon. By the way, funny part of this controversy, almost no one defends Don Lemon. Like, even Democrats and liberals, they're like, well, Don Lemon does do a lot of dumb things on his show. And I think Don Lemon is really talented. But I got to say, when he suggested that maybe the missing plane had been sucked up by a black hole, do you remember that? Like the missing Malaysian airliner? And he's like, well, do you think maybe a black hole or like it could have disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle and been just sucked into a different dimension? I mean, it's hard to see this guy and take him very seriously sometimes. Doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Being funny, being irreverent, being entertaining, there's advantages to all those things. But again, to me, Donald Trump had an opportunity to step into the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate in a funny way and say he was a Jordan guy. Everybody would have understood that he was taking Jordan's side because LeBron James has been ripping him. The art of subtlety sometimes works really well. Let people fill in the blank for your joke. Trump is not subtle. Trump grabs a mallet and he just slams somebody in the head. There is a joy in getting a joke. There is a joy in being able to fill in the blank. Subtlety oftentimes plays a lot better, especially if you have a reputation for not being subtle. It's like they did that one video out of the White House. I thought it was the funniest thing the White House has done since Trump got there. Intentionally funny. They had the big debate about Yanni or whatever it was. The two things, do you hear Yanni or do you hear Noah or whatever the heck it was? And they go around the White House asking everybody, Yanni or Laurel? Yeah, Yanni or Laurel. They go around the White House asking everybody what they hear. And at the end, Donald Trump is there and he says he hears Kafefi. All right? That's really funny. Shows me that he has a sense of humor. I think if Donald Trump embraced the sense of humor, which it seems clear that he has, and used it a little bit more, then his approval ratings would go up 5 or 6 points. Because I think people want to see the president as a regular guy and understand that he's a normal guy, that he can laugh at himself. I think that's very important. People say, why does Saturday Night Live matter? Why do those skits matter? Because they humanize the president, but also because they show that the president has a sense of humor. And I've made this argument before. I haven't heard a lot of other people make this argument. I don't believe that you can be truly evil if you have a sense of humor. I don't think Hitler could make anybody laugh. I think he was so self-serious all the time that Hitler, and I think the same thing about a lot of Muslim terrorists. I don't think that the Muslim terrorist camp is like a really fun place to hang out. I don't think those guys are making each other laugh all the time. I think if you have a sense of humor, it shows that you are not a dogmatic ideologue who lacks all understanding of the larger universe. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe over in the ISIS camps in the mountains of Tora Bora, they're sitting around and late at night they're passing weed and they're drinking beer and they're just making each other laugh like crazy. It's like a frat house in that cave in Tora Bora. Maybe that's true. Maybe these dudes are the funniest motherfuckers on the planet. My experience has been the more dogmatic you are, the more self-serious you are, the more committed to an ideology you are, the less funny you are. Does Donald Trump laugh? I don't know. He seems like at times he has a really good sense of humor. I think if he unlocked it, it would help him greatly as he continues his presidency. I also think it would probably help a little bit with his stress. I would have advised him to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, make some jokes, have some fun. I understand that you're in the most stressful office in the land, but just showing a little bit, a scintilla, that you don't take yourself that seriously, I think it would be a lot of fun and also a positive for the country. And if you think about it, in this social media age, remember right before he left when Bill Clinton put out that funny video of the ways that he was spending time in the White House the final few months. He was riding around on a bicycle. He was watching the laundry. You remember that video? He was learning how to use the internet. I thought all of that was really funny. I don't know what George W. Bush, I can't really remember him being funny. Obama has a really good sense of humor. You can criticize Barack Obama for a lot. He legitimately was a funny guy. And I always will give, I've said this before too, I will give you the benefit of the doubt if you can make me laugh. Because I don't believe you can be 100% evil if you can make me laugh. That's my advice. When you have an opportunity between making somebody laugh or not, if I'm the president, use the humor angle, use a little bit of subtlety as opposed to always bringing out the hammer. I am Clay Travis. I appreciate all of you. This has been Outkick the Show. Go to sportsbookreview.com. Get the best possible numbers as we come down the stretch. Hope you took my first football bet of the year. Beautiful cover in the Ravens going up against the Chicago Bears game. We had the Bears plus 1.5. What happened? Ravens won by 1. Half point. Good sign. Love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. Encourage you to watch it. I'll be live tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern, 300 a.m. FM stations, as well as Sirius Satellite Radio. If you enjoy the show, share it. Urban Meyer, Donald Trump, all that and more. I'm Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. DBAP, by the way. But let me give you a good example here. SBAP. And SBAP would have been a great example. Did you see our girl from Texas A&M who put her Aggie ring on top of the alligator snout? That's a great example of SBAP. Sometimes be a pussy. Would you like to get in the water and feed this 14-foot alligator named Big Tex? No, you know what? I'm going to be a pussy here. SBAP. You can say to me, DBAP Clay. I'm going to tell you, SBAP. Love you guys. I'm Clay Travis. DBAP, but SBAP. Sometimes. See y'all.